In this video, we'll see how we calculate the standard deviation for the sample data. So I have the standard deviation formula here. And so to get a standard deviation, so the steps are, first we need to find the mean. And we actually have the mean already calculated. So both data sets have a mean of 5. And then next one is we want to find the difference from the mean, which is here, x minus x bar. And I also have here. So to find the difference, so basically those are just the 1 minus 5. So which we will get -4. And 3 minus 5, that will be -2. And -1 here. So I have this 2, 2, and 3 here. So it's a compare each score with the mean. So how each score deviate from the mean. So the next, so we cannot simply add them up, because if we add all these up, it will total 0. So what we do is we square the difference. And so that will be the x minus x bar parentheses squared. And so that's what I have here. In this column, I'm going to do these x minus x, the deviation squared, basically. And so the -4, it's squared is 14, and that's a 4, and that's a 1, 4, 4, and 9 here. So once I have this squared difference, I will sum up the square difference. And so what I get is another statistic that's called the sum of squares. So it's the sum of squared difference. So here, if I do the summation here, I will get 38. So that's the total amount of squared difference in my data set. And then next, once I get the total, the sum of the squares, I will divide the sum of squares by my sample size. Since I'm using this as a sample data, so I will use the n-1 here. So that will be 38 minus, so that's, we have 6 data points here. So 6 minus 1 is 5. And then if we do the calculation, we'll get 7.6. And so once I have this, so this is 7.6, we get, this is the variance, and this is the variance. And so this is average amount of square difference. And so once I have the variance, I just need to do a square root of the difference. So square root of the variance, we'll get the standard deviation. And so I'm going to calculate here. So this is square root 7.6. And I will get 2.76. So that's the standard deviation for this small data set. So if so that's if this data is about average miles traveled, and so you see that the miles traveled to class. So the average miles traveled will be 5 miles, and standard deviation is 2.76 miles. This is another data sample. Another data sample. Just for example, we're still looking at miles traveled to class. So, and you can see that these data that's more similar, even though the average is still the same. So if I'm look at the difference from the mean, you can see the first way is just 1 mile less, and then we have a lot that's exactly at the mean, and this is 1 mile above. And so this will be 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, and 1. So the total amount of square difference is 2. Yeah, so that is the sum of squares. To compare those, it's much less, even though the mean is the same. So and if the average amount of the square difference, that will be 2 minus 5. So you will get 0.4, which is the variance. And then next, we'll do a square root of 0.4. You'll get the standard deviation, which is rounded off to 6.3. So you can see this data set has much less variation. Yeah. So if we look at the miles traveled, it's less than 1 mile traveled. So in terms of the standard deviation, yeah, while this one can differ over more than 2.5 miles. So this tutorial is about how we calculate standard deviation. Thank you for watching it.